What's up, Elmians? This is Rohit Rana, and as promised, I'm here to review the 2018 film Rangasthalam, directed by Sukumar and starring Ram Charan, Samantha Prabhu, and Aadhi, among other stars. Jagapati Babu. I'm sorry. Alright, so how is this film? What are my initial thoughts? I will begin with first the negatives and then the positives. What goes against the film and what goes for the film. Against the film, there is one problem that I have found with so far most of the South Indian films I have watched so far, most of the Telugu films I have seen so far, and that is a weak female character, weak female lead character. There are more than one important females in this film, female characters. There is an aunt. She has a good role, but if we talk about the lead female, which is Samantha Prabhu, just like in Ega, she is just an instrument here, more of an eye candy, as we were discussing the other day. The other negative would be, I would say, the length. The film could have been shorter, a little more crisper, but I don't complain because overall I had some experience which I will talk about in the positives of this video. One of the biggest negatives for me was, even though I loved the villain, which was played by, again, I would not like to mispronounce the name, Jagapati Babu or Jagapati Babu. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering this name, but I'm so sure you will be forgiving. Even though I loved his character, it was menacing. Every time he was on screen, you were at the edge of your seat, wondering if he would, like, what would he do? Will he kill this guy, or will he scream? Because every time he was angry, every time there was this simmering anger inside him, which never really exploded, or maybe it did once. You were anticipating something bad would happen. That is how the character was created. But the negative for me was how it ended, basically. I would have loved to see one more outburst from him, some more dialogues from him. I'm not saying the direction was wrong. It was good that this character, this villain, was the silent type. There was so much fear he instilled in the hearts of the villagers that he did not need to speak much. But I would still have loved to for the film to end his character in a more elaborate way. Maybe they could have dedicated a minute more to him in the end. That was a small gripe I had. And that's about it. That's all the negatives. The positives, everything else. To begin with, let's talk acting. Let's talk Ram Charan. Wow. I mean, I've seen Ram Charan in only RRR, and I liked him in RRR a lot. But then you cannot judge an actor based on one film, right? He is really good in RRR, but if I had to tell someone that he's a versatile actor, and I have to recommend them a movie after RRR to prove his versatility, I would recommend him or her Rangasthalam, because this is a totally different role from RRR. Yes, he's still a beast. He can beat 30 guys at once with weapons, and he can beat them with bare hands. But that's a trait he has. Apart from this thing, the character is totally different. He has a hearing disability. He's far more comic in nature. In RRR, he was serious. He was also fun loving. He had fun with Bheem, but that was a serious guy making some jokes. That was a serious guy having some fun. In this film, he has a comic character, and it's like totally different from what we saw in RRR. His mannerisms, it's not like that he played the character of a guy with hearing disability with any caricaturish traits. It was not like what we see in 99% of the films. When a character is shown that he cannot hear properly, we see ha. There was not one ha in this film. Even when something was not being said to him, even when there's a dialogue going on between different characters, he was in his character. He was still, the way his body was leaning to the right or to the left, the way he was always trying to hear the conversation happening around him, the way he was reacting to things that were being said to him in a low pitch voice, or when they were being said to him in a high pitch voice, and how he made let's say Samantha, Ramalakshmi, to speak loudly when she was not speaking loudly, when she was not aware of his hearing disability. All of those things he played masterfully. There was not one caricature. There was nothing stereotype. No stereotype in his character. No stereotyping in his character. No cliches. It is easier to play a character with a disability, any disability, visual disability, hearing disability, any other disability, mental disability. It is easy to play. It is easy to fetch into to look at other characters in other films and then borrow from them, to borrow certain body language, to borrow certain traits, to borrow certain signs, body language signs. That's what I mean. But this was for me a very refreshing portrayal of all of that. And apart from the hearing disability thing, his expressions, his intensity, his comic timing is great. Along with the guy who played his friend, both had amazing chemistry. They were buddies. It's not a buddy film, but they were buddies. There were scenes where he had to explain him what is being said, and there was a nice line when he said, "Dude, I can hear, you can't hear, so I don't have to look at them what they're saying. I can hear even if I'm looking here and there." So there were some funny exchanges between the two friends. There were some funny exchanges. So and of course the chemistry between two brothers, Ram Charan and Aadhi. Beautiful chemistry. You could feel that they really love each other. It's not just done for the cameras. It's not just done because the script is written in a way that they have to show this brotherly love between the two little brothers. You could see the chemistry they had. Aadhi and Ram Charan had a beautiful chemistry between them. You could feel that they are really close to each other, and they would go to any lengths to protect each other. One brother would go to any lengths to protect the other brother. The chemistry was there. You could see the love, you could see the bond they shared, the two characters shared, and that's all kudos to the two actors. Aadhi played his character with very much with a lot of earnesty. I could buy into his personality of someone who cannot stand injustice, but who is also soft in nature. He's not like his younger brother, who is all aggressive, hyped up, all the time ready to fight. The older brother, Aadhi, he thinks with a calm mind, but he's also kind of innocent. He's also kind of naive, because he is himself a very calm person, calm and collected. Thinks before he takes any decisions, thinks before he talks. He kind of sees the world with the same lens, kind of, to a lot of extent. Even before he decides to stand for elections, that he got a big shock. That's why he stood for elections. Otherwise, before that, he was not opposing the villain of the villain of the movie. Basically, he was like, okay, he's the guy who leads this village. Let him be. All the injustices done to people, all the fraud, all the corruption that had been happening from past 30 years, his character seemed to have been, at least that is how it seemed to me, his character seemed to have been kind of okay with it. He was not thinking too much into it. But when Ram Charan's character Chitti Babu gets arrested and gets beaten, and when the brother goes to the head of the village and begs him, pleads him to put in a word for Chitti Babu so that they do not beat him in jail and they release him, because he didn't really do something that was that terrible, and how the villain of the movie, he just lends a deaf ear to him, and he explains him like he deserves that punishment. and that's when his eyes open, and that's when he sees the village head for who he really is, and that's when he brings back the all the 30 years of corruption in his dialogue to him when he decides to stand for president. uh, so the portrayal of the brother, the portrayal of Chitti Babu himself, the portrayal of the villain, as I've previously explained, they're on point. Samantha Prabhu, I think whatever she was given, she was good at it. She was cute and she was bubbly and she was funny. But I hope she was given more meat in the film, especially in the later half, in the last few, in the last 30 minutes or so, where she was reduced to just being a love interest who is crying for her love because her love is suffering, and that's it. That was her only job in the last 30 minutes. She had barely had any lines. I hope that was not the case. And cinematography, great. It was a visual delight from start to end. The film was a visual delight. It was so beautiful. Every single frame was so beautiful. How the village was captured, how the houses were captured. I love their houses. Very modest. Obviously, they were not financially very big off, but very well off. But their houses looked so cute, so cozy, so beautiful. Village houses, very authentic. Any house they showed the house of the aunt. That was very authentic. There were surprises along the way, though I kind of expected the aunt's husband was not really in Dubai. I kind of expected that to happen when she has the big reveal in front of Ram Charan. That was not shocking to me. But then that's nothing to take away from the movie. I think the director Sukumar kind of made that obvious intentionally. So the auntie played by the actor, I can't remember her name. She was really good. I bought into her character really nicely. And who else? The parents played their part pitch perfect, and that's about it. And the movie is interesting. Maybe I'm not talked about the movie itself. It's an old plot. Hero standing up to the corrupt officials of the village, but the execution was new. You were totally glued to the screen. You wanted to see what would happen next. There are mini rivalries in the movie. Ram Charan has rivalries with other groups, but they all come together to fight the bigger evil. So there was a lot of new things in the execution. How the story went forward, the screenplay was new. The story, the overall story, the background may have been old, but the screenplay was new. The acting was fantastic. The cinematography was great. There is a big twist, which you kind of anticipate, but also not. You kind of think that okay, maybe that wouldn't happen. So you're at the edge of the seat throughout the first half. Okay, it might happen now. It might happen now. And when it finally happens, it kind of caught me off guard. I was maybe not expecting that twist. I was not expecting that character to be killed off at that point. At that point, I was not expecting that character to be killed off. I thought, okay, he's going to survive. So that was a surprise to me. A partial surprise, because I was still, in one part of my head, I was still expecting that to happen. So that was nice because the movie took a twist. The movie took a serious turn after that. There was a lot of comedy till there, comedy serious, but after that it was an intense film. The revenge part of Ram Charan is amazing, and he obviously plays that part well. We have seen that in RRR when he's all intense and broody and whatnot. And that's it. I really like the film. If I had to rate the film, I would rate it does it have a repeat value? Sure, it can be repeated, but it's too long and there is too much content on OTT around these days, so I'm not sure if I can repeat the film, but it has a repeat value, which is one of the criterias for me rating a film. So I would rate it 8 out of 10. Why 2 marks? Why I gave it just 8 not 10? I think I have explained that pretty elaborately enough in this video. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments what do you think of the review and of the movie. Thank you.